Project Nightingale's PE ratio is inflated. Tell Chen the secondary offering is a bluff. The woman's voice, low and sharp, cut through the Dallas airport lounge buzz. MJ froze. Nightingale? Chen? That deal was classified. Who was she? The sterile calm of the first-class lounge at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport was a welcome respite for Michael Jordan. He settled into a plush leather armchair near a panoramic window, nursing a sparkling water, trying to decompress between a grueling series of meetings in Houston and his connecting flight back to Charlotte. He needed to clear his head. Review. Notes for the sensitive, high-stakes business negotiations set to finalize next week. Project Nightingale, a potential multi-billion-dollar acquisition in the burgeoning sports tech sector. The details were strictly confidential, known only to his innermost circle, his legal team, and the equally tight-lipped team on the other side, led by the formidable CEO, Robert Chen. Jordan pulled out his tablet, intending to review the latest term sheets, when his attention was snagged by a conversation happening nearby. A woman, seated 2 chairs over, was speaking quietly but intensely into her phone, her back partially towards him. She was impeccably dressed, a razor-sharp designer pantsuit, expensive heels, understated but clearly high-end jewelry. She looked like a top-tier executive, radiating an aura of focused power and quiet confidence. She was black, perhaps late 40s, her features sharp, intelligent. Jordan wouldn't normally eavesdrop, but the acoustics of the lounge, combined with the woman's clear, precise diction, carried snippets of her conversation directly to him. And the snippets made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. Absolutely certain the valuation is inflated, she murmured into the phone, her voice low but firm. Project Nightingale's projected PE ratio is based on overly optimistic user adoption rates. Run the sensitivity analysis again with the revised churn numbers. Project Nightingale. PE ratio. User adoption rates. Jordan felt a jolt of adrenaline, sharp and cold. How could this stranger possibly know the internal code name for his confidential deal? How could she know specific financial metrics like the price-to-earnings ratio, let alone the internal debates about user churn rates? This wasn't public information. Not even close. He tried to rationalize it. Coincidence? Maybe Project Nightingale was a common code name? Unlikely. Maybe she worked for the target company, Chen's side? Possible, but her tone didn't sound like internal discussion. It sounded like external analysis, almost predatory. He strained to hear more, keeping his expression neutral, pretending to be engrossed in his tablet. "Aback, tell Chen the secondary offering is a bluff," the woman continued, her voice hardening slightly. "They don't have the liquid capital reserves post-acquisition, without significant dilution. Leverage that in the final push. We need to trigger the exit clause before Friday." Chen. Secondary offering. Exit clause. These were specific, highly sensitive details related to the negotiation strategy Jordan's team was actively debating right now. Details known only to maybe 5 people on his side, and presumably a similarly small circle on Chen's side. The secondary offering was indeed a strategic bluff they planned to deploy. The tight liquidity position post-acquisition was Chen's potential weakness. The exit clause negotiation was the current sticking point. This woman wasn't just informed. She possessed insider-level knowledge of both sides of the confidential negotiation. How? Jordan felt a wave of ice spread through his veins. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't just someone from the other side. This felt like espionage, corporate espionage, happening right here, 2 chairs away from him, in the bland anonymity of an airport lounge. He risked a quick glance. The woman concluded her call with a curt, "Understood. Execute Phase 3," and slipped her phone, a sleek, encrypted-looking device, back into her expensive leather handbag. She sat back, surveyed the lounge calmly, her expression unreadable, betraying nothing of the explosive conversation she'd just conducted. Her gaze swept past Jordan without lingering, without any sign of recognition, before settling on the flight departure board across the room. Who was she? And who was she working for? A rival bidder trying to sabotage the deal? A hedge fund looking to short the stock post-acquisition based on insider knowledge? A foreign entity seeking access to the proprietary tech involved in Project Nightingale? This was the midpoint, the chilling realization. The sharply dressed woman wasn't just discussing business, she was actively involved in industrial espionage, targeting his confidential deal, possessing intimate knowledge of both sides' strategies and vulnerabilities. The casual airport lounge setting transformed instantly into a potential battlefield in a high-stakes corporate war. Jordan felt a surge of cold anger, quickly suppressed. He needed to think clearly, strategically. Confronting her directly was out of the question, too risky, potentially tipping her off, revealing his own awareness. Calling his legal team immediately felt premature without more information. He needed to identify her, understand her angle, assess the extent of the leak. He activated the discreet recording app on his own phone, angling it slightly, hoping to catch any further conversation if she made another call. He also subtly snapped a quick photo of her with his phone's camera, capturing her profile as she gazed towards the flight board. He immediately sent the photo via secure message to Andre, his head of security, with a brief, urgent text. Identify ASAP. DFW First Class Lounge. Urgent potential security breach. Ray, Nightingale. He knew Andre had resources, facial recognition, databases, connections. If anyone could ID her quickly, it was him. The woman sat calmly for several more minutes, occasionally checking her watch, projecting an air of bored patience. Then, she stood up smoothly, gathered her handbag and a slim laptop case, and walked towards the lounge exit, heading towards the gates. Jordan watched her go, memorizing her walk, her posture. She moved with purpose, confidence, disappearing into the flow of travelers. His phone buzzed almost immediately. Andre? Got her. Name: Isabella Moreau. French national, based primarily out of Geneva. Ostensibly an independent financial consultant. Unofficially, known in certain circles as Le Corbeau, the Raven. Top-tier industrial espionage specialist. Very expensive, very discreet, very dangerous. Clients range from rival corporations to state-sponsored actors. If she's targeting Nightingale, serious problem, boss. Assume massive internal leak. Le Corbeau, the Raven, Isabella Moreau, industrial espionage expert. The confirmation sent another wave of ice through Jordan. His deal wasn't just being monitored. It was being actively targeted by one of the best, most ruthless operators in the shadowy world of corporate intelligence gathering. Someone on his team, or someone on Chen's team, had betrayed confidential information. The implications were staggering. Moreau likely knew their bottom line, their vulnerabilities, Chen's weaknesses. She could be feeding information to disrupt the deal entirely, or perhaps positioning a third party to swoop in at the last minute. Project Nightingale, months of careful negotiation and billions of dollars, was suddenly in extreme jeopardy. The hidden truth hit him hard. The sophisticated woman wasn't just a competitor. She was a highly skilled operative hired specifically to infiltrate and potentially dismantle his latest major venture. The airport lounge hadn't been a place of rest. It had been her temporary command center, a place where she calmly received intel and issued orders that could cost him billions. Jordan knew he had to act immediately, decisively. He couldn't wait until he landed in Charlotte. He needed to alert his core negotiating team now, halt all non-essential communication, initiate an internal security sweep to identify the leak, and reevaluate their entire strategy in light of Moreau's likely knowledge. He found a private corner of the lounge and made a series of urgent encrypted calls, relaying the situation, the identity of Le Corbeau, the specific details overheard, the critical need for immediate damage control, and counterintelligence measures. The relaxed layover had transformed into a high-stakes crisis management session. As he spoke, outlining countermeasures, trying to salvage the deal now threatened by an unseen enemy, he thought back to Isabella Moreau's calm, confident demeanor, her casual discussion of classified information in a public space, her utter lack of recognition or intimidation when near him. She was a true professional, operating in a world far removed from the basketball court, playing a different, potentially far more damaging game. The encounter was a brutal reminder that in the world of high-stakes business, the threats often don't come from direct competitors, but from the shadows, wielded by invisible hands like Le Corbeau, capable of dismantling empires with a whisper over a secure line. The sharply dressed woman at the airport hadn't just offered a glimpse into a secret world. She had unknowingly revealed herself as a direct threat to Jordan's own, forcing him into a desperate scramble to protect his interests before she could strike the killing blow. How vulnerable are high-stakes business negotiations and confidential information to sophisticated industrial espionage tactics in today's interconnected world? What measures can individuals and corporations take to protect themselves from unseen operatives like Le Corbeau, who operate in the shadows? Share your insights on corporate security and espionage in the comments, and subscribe for more stories exploring the hidden battles fought in the world of high finance and technology.